Hi, this is a getting started tutorial for DBRider. At this point, you should have the following software installed on your computer. You should have a text editor. You should have a MySQL database server installed with the username and password set up. You should also have the sample databases Billing Start and Billing Complete running on your computer, imported and accessible. You should also have the Rebel 2 programming language installed and running properly. And you should also have the DBRider folder somewhere on your computer. We're going to open the DBRider program by right-clicking on it and opening with the Rebel View System. Here we are asked for our username and password. So we're going to provide that for our connection to the database. And at this point we're going to go into the Billing Start database. You should get a dialog that shows that you successfully connected to the database. And then we'll view the table. When you first start up DBRider, it needs to know which text editor you're going to use within the program. So I'm going to tell it that I'm using Notepad++ in this case, and I'm actually telling it some of the attributes of that particular editor from this drop-down list. If your editor isn't in this list, you can pick unknown editor, but for now we'll pick Notepad++. So this is where all of your queries against the database take place. You can see here we have the database that we've selected here, and also the table that we're looking at here. And the listing for all the records in that table below here. The majority of our query activity takes place in this area. So right now we're going to switch back over to the Billing Complete database, and you'll notice we're presented with a sample of 15 records from the address table. This is merely a convenience limit that's put on the displaying of the records from any given table when this drop down is selected. So you'll notice as we switch from one table to another, this limit stays put. That limit can be changed through the records to display setting here if we wish, or we can manually change it here if we wish to some other number and then re-execute the query. Or if we want to see every record in the table, we just clear the limit and then rerun the query, and we'll notice that we now see 494 records. And now to illustrate some of the query functions available through DBRider, I'm going to flip back over to the address table here. For those familiar with SQL queries, you'll realize that that's all we're doing here is building an SQL query and displaying it down here. So if we want to, for instance, order this record set by the state and province, we can do that. Clear the limit again. And now we see that all of our records are sorted by the state and province. To get a little more detailed about things, we can go in here and we can set the state and province to Alberta. You'll see that we have 42 records there. And we're going to add in the city as well in here. And we'll look for everything that's in the city of Calgary in Alberta. Now we see we have only 19 records. The DBRider query functions are a fundamental building block of creating reports and also creating what I call Go scripts, which bring you to areas of work that you want to work within the database. We'll talk about these two things in another video, but for the time being we're going to go back to the company database and we're going to take a look at the edit record window. So here we are at record number 104 within the company table. Now you'll notice there are some fields within this table that have two pieces of information attached to them. In reality, the first value within this main contact field is 119. That's the computer readable value. The human readable value is this on the right hand side. And if I click on it, it'll take me directly to that other table. And again, the address here is record ID 94, and if I click on there, it takes me into the address table, record ID 94. My link depth changes here as I traverse the links between the different tables, and I can go back through the chain to bring me back to the original record 104. Now the edit record window also has a couple other features that are important to make note of. Is that beside these fields that have both computer readable and human readable data, there's an assist button here that allows me to select valid data for that particular field. So in this case, our main contact has to be a person from our person table. So I can pick one from here, and it will automatically put the value in there for me and link that record to this record. Same with the addresses. We can pick one there that is a different one, and it'll automatically put those values in and make those links for me so that I know that they're correct and valid.